This is Hidden Deep, a new sci-fi action horror game that's coming out on Steam on the 24th of January, and I've been lucky enough to have an early look at it and bring you this gameplay and my impressions of it. The game's aesthetic leans heavily on its inspirations from movies like The Abyss and Alien, and even video games like the recent Carrion. It's obviously got this 2D style, and interestingly, most of the screen is covered in darkness. When you start encountering the various monsters that are lurking in the darkness, you almost always hear them before you see them, and thanks to some excellent sound design with this ominous soundtrack of kind of caverns and industrial clanking, you hear this skittering over the top of that, and every single monster makes a different noise. The combat is hugely satisfying. You press one button, the right mouse button, to sort of ready your gun, and then you can just fire away. Ammo's pretty scarce, but the guns do feel like they do a lot of damage. There's some monsters that go down in a single shot, and others, like this horrible cave worm, you need to put a load of rounds into. And it's often one-hit kill with these bigger things if they get close to you, so it's all about sort of planning and working out how you can cover certain angles. You can use sound to attract enemies to you, so if you're going into a new area, you can fire a couple of times. That will cause the enemies to start coming towards you, and then you can try and take them out. Sometimes there's one or two, sometimes there's entire swarms, and when they come out just from the area that's not quite illuminated by a flashlight, it's bloody terrifying. The game plays with a sort of heavy mix of action and puzzle. You have loads of cool devices that you can use on different missions to achieve different things, and eventually you end up with lots of different playable characters even. This device that I'm just using lets me scan the floor and see if there's maybe any weaknesses below me that I'd be able to break on through. You also have a grappling hook that's super handy and you can use to sort of lower yourself down. Now, not every character has every gadget, so sometimes you have to try and work out how you can get every single character through an area safely. When you have more than one character, you kind of take turns controlling them, so you can use shift and one of the number buttons to swap to them, and they'll just stand there doing nothing until you take control of them again. You can give them very simple commands, so you can tell them like to keep on running left or keep on running right, but you have to be pretty careful about that because they can easily just jump off a cliff. In a lot of the puzzles, you'll be preparing a route for the rest of your team to get through. I'm still only in the early parts of the game, but it definitely seems like there's a few different ingenious ways they can block your progress, and things like the soldier can drop a rope down for the engineers to get down is pretty cool. You have to be careful when you're fighting as the different people, because you can accidentally do a little bit of friendly fire. All of the puzzles so far that I've done feel really satisfying. It does feel like there's kind of one solution to most of the things, but maybe they get more complex as the game goes on. It's been quite fun playing with kind of the different limits of the engine. There's a lot of systems at play here, and they all kind of make sense within the game world. So like this big drilling machine that the engineers can steer, the engineers can use, will drill through these like special walls that are obviously set up for you to drill through, but they will actually drill through a lot of other stuff too. Sometimes they'll just end up gouging bits of the earth out. It's not like they've set up these puzzles in a sort of gimmicky way like a lot of games do. Instead, they've set up the puzzles around the systems and around the physics that you get to experience through the whole rest of the game. The game can feel absolutely brutal, and I've died a bunch of times just because I couldn't get a gun out in time, or because the controls were a little bit clunky and I was struggling to do what I wanted to do. You can respawn at any point, and things that you've killed will stay dead. You don't lose any progress, but you can only respawn a certain number of times. You've got a number of lives on each mission, and if you run out, then you're going to have to start the whole thing again. If you're on easy, then you get way more lives, and I think they'll just basically let you go through it fairly simply. If you play on a really hard difficulty, you'll be very limited in your number of lives. Overall, I've been having a great time with Hidden Deep. It's definitely a bit of an acquired taste, like you have to be into this kind of sci-fi horror and puzzles and 2D action that's pretty brutal. You're gonna die a lot in it, and you're gonna spend a lot of time sort of getting frustrated at why things don't work necessarily the way you want to, and you'll die a bunch of times accidentally. But if you enjoy that kind of thing, if you enjoy the kind of crazy stories it creates, then I think you're gonna have a really good time with this game. Like I said, it's gonna be out on Steam on the 24th of January. You can add it to your wishlist now, and it's going into early access, so I think there's going to be a lot more stuff added to it over time and refinements and things like that. I was only playing the first 4 or so missions today, and that took me about 2 hours, and it seems like there's tons more content to come after that. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if there's any other games that you'd like me to check out and have a look at in this kind of style. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.